So in October of 2003, Activision released its first ever Call of Duty title. And it is now 2023, and since then, they've released a game almost every single year despite 2004, meaning they've released 19 games in the past 20 years. And if you count COD 4 Remastered, that means they've released 20 games in 20 years, which is kind of a wild stat when you think about it, the fact that we've had a new Call of Duty every single year since the year 2003. Which is wild to me. And in that 20-year time frame, we've had some absolutely incredible games. We've had Modern Warfare 2, we've had Black Ops 2, we had MW3 was pretty decent. You had Black Ops 3, which was probably the best jetpack game. You had COD 4. The list goes on. We had some really good games and some classics, some all-time favorites. And it kind of leads you to the point of like, is the COD cycle worth it? Like when you hit on a game like Black Ops 2, MW2, like you make a really good game, everybody loves it, and then you have to follow it up next year with another game. And like these games aren't given time to breathe, time to live. Like they're built to die right after it. They're built to die that next year, and it's only a year of that game's lifespan, and then the next year that game's completely dead and nobody's playing it because the developers aren't doing anything for it anymore. And the community's not playing it because the developers aren't adding any new stuff to it. So it's just that same game. Servers get bad, hackers get on it, and it's just an ongoing cycle every year. And it kind of sucks because if you enjoy a specific Call of Duty title, you only get one good year of playing it, and that's it. Like after that year, support for it goes down. There's no more new content. It's a lot harder to find a lobby. Like you're sitting there searching for a good bit of time. Sometimes you won't even be able to find a lobby. And this is a Call of Duty title that you really enjoy, it's your favorite, and you can no longer play it after a few years of its release. And the other issue that this COD cycle brings is like once a game is out, it's out. Like there's not much change happening to the game after it's released. As opposed to a Battlefield 2042, like the game came out and it was absolutely terrible. Like people hated it. And when you don't have a yearly release, like Battlefield doesn't release a game every year. Like they release a game and it's there for a good bit of time. So once they released that title, like that was their game, like that was their project. And so they did everything they could in order to make that game better, like the updates, the patch notes, whatever, so on and so forth. They wanted the game to be the best game it could be because they weren't releasing another one the next year, and it wasn't meant to die. It was meant to be continuously played. And so if you look at the state of Battlefield from when it's released to now, it's light years ahead of what it was. It's almost a completely different game. And that's the issue with Call of Duty. If the game isn't really good on release, then it's not going to be good throughout. Like if a game is not good out the box, then it is set in stone. It is already in its grave. The game will not be good going forward because they are not going to make any major updates to the game just for it to be dead in a year. Like for example, if we had that same, we're not getting another Call of Duty title for another 2-3 years, so we have to make this game the best game possible, I feel like we would actually get the updates that we wanted. We would get the movement changes. We would get the increased time to kill. We would get all the updates that we've been asking for because it would be actually worth it because they're putting time and effort into a game that's actually going to last instead of like, hey, we're putting all this effort into a game that's going to die the next year. Why would we make this major update when we can shift our focus to the next game because this game's going to die anyways? And I feel like as though the community is almost feeling this same tension of like, hey, we don't need a Call of Duty title every year if we're going to get it and it's just going to die the next year. And if it's not even going to be that great, like I feel like it's quality over quantity, and I feel like the community is on that same page. Like when they initially released, hey, that we're not going to do the yearly cycle anymore, I felt like it was met with great reception. I don't think anybody was too upset that they weren't releasing a new Call of Duty title every single year after that. Like the concept of just, hey, letting the game live, letting the game breathe, and actually taking time and developing that next game so it's actually a really good game and it's not just rushed out. I felt like people actually liked the thought of that. Like it was an exciting thing. It was an exciting change. And so all this kind of brings me back to how I initially started this video. You see, the COD cycle started almost 20 years ago. This is a 20-year ideology process, whatever you want to call it. It is a 20-year-old idea. And things just change over time. Like, yes, it might have been a good thing at the time, but at this day and age, 20 years later, it is not what it used to be. It is not the most ideal situation. Like getting excited for COD titles isn't exactly what it used to be. Like people used to get absolutely pumped for it. They used to camp outside of GameStop. And now it's like, is it even worth it? Like they're doing it again next year. And it's like, it's watered down. Like the excitement, the hype is all watered down because they do this every year. and there's no real excitement for it anymore. So honestly, at this point, I feel like Call of Duty, in order to save this whole COD cycle, save Call of Duty, the best thing they can do is stop the yearly releases and start releasing every 2-3 years. That way excitement builds up for it, games have time to breathe, and overall people would just be more willing to grind the game, get the highest level, to buy the bundles in the store, because your time, money, and effort isn't being used on a game that's only going to be around for a year, then after that it's dead. So this is just a win-win for the community and for the developers, because people will be more willing to buy bundles if it's going to last longer than a year, and you're also getting your money's worth as a player, because you know the things you buy in the store is going to actually have value in a year instead of being dead. But let me know down below what you guys think. Do you like the yearly releases, or you think they should do away with it? If you did enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later.